It is obvious that a lot of people have only read the Call of Cthulhu once, if at all, and have no intelligible concept of what happened in the story. It's constantly stupid shit about Cthulhu getting beat up by a steamship. I have made this video to save me the time and trouble of correcting you buffoons over and over. This way I can just paste in the YouTube link and be done with it. Allow me to dispel your ignorance. From the Call of Cthulhu, these great old ones, Castro continued, were not composed altogether of flesh and blood. They had shape, for did not the star-fashioned image prove it? But that shape was not made of matter. When the stars were right, they could plunge from world to world through the sky. But when the stars were wrong, they could not live. But although they no longer lived, they would never really die. They all lay in stone houses in their great city of R'lyeh, preserved by the spells of mighty Cthulhu, for a glorious resurrection when the stars and the earth might once more be ready for them. And the ending with the steamship incident itself, the brave Norwegian drove his vessel head on against the pursuing jelly, which rose above the unclean froth like the stern of a Damon galleon. The awful squid head with writhing feelers came nearly up to the bowsprit of the sturdy yacht, but Johansen drove on relentlessly. There was a bursting as of an exploding bladder, a slushy nastiness as of a cloven sunfish, a stench as of 1,000 open graves, and a sound that the chronicler would not put on paper. For an instant, the ship was befouled by an acrid and blinding green cloud, and then there was only a venomous seething astern, where, God in heaven, the scattered plasticity of that nameless sky spawn was nebulously recombining in its hateful original form. And from At Mountains of Madness, which was published a few years after the Call of Cthulhu, in this story, the old ones are referring to the creatures more commonly known as the Elder Things. It was curious to note from the pictured battles that both the Cthulhu spawn and the Migo seem to have been composed of matter more widely different from that which we know than was the substance of the old ones. They were able to undergo transformations and reintegrations impossible for their adversaries, and seem therefore to have originally come from even remote gulfs of cosmic space. The old ones, but for their abnormal toughness and peculiar vital properties, were strictly material, and must have had their absolute origin within the known space-time continuum, whereas the first sources of the other beings can only be guessed at with bated breath. So let me sum up for you. Cthulhu is not completely made up of matter, and that matter is completely different from anything we know, and he does not originate from within our space-time reality. Cthulhu is akin to what is now called in particle physics as weakly interacting massive particles. Like Disney's Cheshire Cat said, you may have noticed that I'm not all there myself. Cthulhu Fatagan.